All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating academic paper that throws a wrench into everything we think we know about global politics. The main idea? What if, for the first time in literally centuries, the world doesn't have any real great powers anymore? I know, it's a huge claim, so let's dig in and see what the argument is. So, here it is, the bombshell claim, right from the paper itself. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This one sentence basically takes a 200-year-old idea about how the world works and asks, is it even relevant anymore? It's saying that the countries we all point to as the big players, the US, China, Russia, they might not actually meet the classic definition of a great power today. Wild, right? Okay, so before we can even start to figure out if that's true, we've got to do our homework. We need to pin down what a great power actually is. I mean, it's a term that gets thrown around a lot, right? But in the world of geopolitics, it has a very, very specific meaning.
And here's the key part that really jumped out at me. See that word recognized? That's everything. Being a great power isn't just about having the biggest army or the most money. It's about other countries actually looking to you to lead. It's this kind of accepted legitimacy. And that comes with a pretty heavy responsibility, or at least it's supposed to. You're expected to be a guardian of global stability, not just a bully looking out for number one.
And, this whole idea has been around forever. It was basically made official way back in 1815 after Napoleon was defeated. Then, after World War II, you had the UN Security Council, which was kind of the new model. And of course, during the Cold War, it boiled down to just two superpowers, the US and the USSR, staring each other down. For over 200 years, this has been the bedrock, the lens through which we viewed the world. So the big question the paper is asking is that lens finally cracked for good? Okay, so think of this as the ultimate great power checklist. And the rule was you had to tick every single one of these boxes, no exceptions. It wasn't enough to just be a military giant or an economic powerhouse. You had to have it all. The military, the money, the global diplomatic pull, and that really tricky one, recognized moral authority. You needed the whole shebang. So this is the yardstick. Let's see how today's big names measure up. All right, now for the main event. Let's take that checklist and apply it to the big three today, the United States, China, and Russia. The central argument of this paper is that, yeah, they're all incredibly powerful in their own ways, but each one is missing a crucial piece of the puzzle. They all fall short of that classic all boxes check definition. So let's start with military power. And wow, when it comes to defense spending, the US is just in a league of its own. I mean, look at those numbers. Almost $1 trillion. That is more than double what China spends. So on this point, there's really no debate. The paper calls the US the undisputed leader, and yeah, that box is definitely checked. And here's what that staggering amount of money actually buys you. This incredible global reach. We're talking about over 750 US military bases scattered across more than 80 countries. It's a footprint that nobody else on Earth can even begin to match. It's the definition of global power projection. But, and this is a huge but, remember our checklist? Military strength is just one box out of 5. Okay, this table right here, this is the heart of the whole argument. It's like a report card. For the United States, you've got this unmatched military, right? But the weakness, the paper argues, is this eroding moral authority and a challenged economy. So you have the muscle, but maybe not the full respect or the long-term cash flow. Then you look at China. It's the world's economic engine, no doubt. But its authoritarian system and the fact that it doesn't have a network of formal allies, that makes it hard for other countries to truly trust its leadership. And Russia? It has the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet, a massive strength. But its economy is limited, and it struggles with global legitimacy, making its power more about disruption than about building anything new. See the pattern? Each one is a heavyweight, but each has an Achilles heel. Nobody gets a perfect score. And even when you drill down into just the economy, you see the same kind of split. I mean, the US dollar is still king dollar. It's the foundation of global finance. But its dominance is getting chipped away at, partly because of the heavy use of sanctions and just massive global debt. On the flip side, you've got China, which used its massive Belt and Road project to become the world's #1 trading partner. A huge achievement, but now it's dealing with some serious economic problems back home. So you see, the days of one country completely dominating the global economy are, well, they seem to be over. So if no one's really driving the bus, what happens? What does a world without a clear leader actually look like? Well, the paper has a name for it, and it's a good one: strategic uncertainty. It perfectly describes a world where the old playbook has been thrown out, but nobody's written the new one yet.
And this isn't just some abstract theory for a textbook. Strategic uncertainty has very real, very messy consequences that we're seeing play out right now. You see global institutions like the UN getting weaker, you see powerful regional countries starting to throw their weight around more, and you see a big increase in proxy wars and conflicts that just seem impossible to solve. It's like countries are falling back on this old 19th century idea of spheres of influence, which feels like a big step backward into a much more dangerous time. And the price tag for all this chaos? It is absolutely staggering. $19 trillion. That's the estimated economic hit from global violence every single year. That is a huge chunk of the entire world's economy. But let me put it this way, because this is what really gets me. That breaks down to almost $2,400 for every man, woman, and child on Earth. Money that's just gone, wasted on conflict and instability. It's the same story even when we talk about soft power, a country's cultural pull and its diplomatic influence. It's not a one-horse race anymore. It's multipolar. You've got the US and China at the top, but they're selling completely different visions of how the world should work. And look at Russia down there at number 16. That's a really telling detail, isn't it? It proves that having a huge military doesn't mean the world wants to follow your lead. It's not the same thing. Okay, so if the old system is broken, what's the solution? Where do we go from here? And this is where the paper gets really interesting. It doesn't say we should just wait for a new great power to show up and fix everything. Instead, it says we have to completely rethink what global order even means. The big point here is that the old map is useless. We can't navigate this new world with it. We're not just waiting for a new king to be crowned. The whole idea of a throne, that top-down, centralized power structure, is gone. Power isn't just in the hands of a few big countries anymore. It's spread out everywhere in this messy, complex web of regional players, massive corporations, and all kinds of other groups. And this really brings us to the paper's final and maybe most important conclusion. The solution isn't to try and glue the old world back together. That's not going to work. What we need now is a totally new way of thinking. It's about strategic imagination, being flexible, and most of all, just having the political will to actually try something different. So that leaves us with one last massive question to chew on. In this new fragmented world, who builds the future? If the giants of the past can't do it alone anymore, who does? The paper hints that the answer can't be just one country. It has to be something we all figure out together. A pretty powerful idea to end on.